Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Conversations in the Cloud. Conversations in the Cloud is a series of interactive sessions where we bring you insights from thought leaders and professionals from across teams at Extentia. Today, we have one of the most electrifying personalities at Extentia. Her eye for detail puts most AI to shame. You know who we're talking about. Let's give it up for the one and only Komal Khilnani, Extentia's Vice President of Business Development. Welcome to the show, Komal.
Thank you for having me. Totally excited. Super happy that I'm going to be the first guest on your show.
Wonderful. Let's get right into it. So to start with, we'd like to know how you got your start in the vast world of business development.
I basically got myself a job in the IT world saying that I want to do something with computers. And I think very quickly, everyone I was working with determined that I liked to talk to people. I liked to listen to customer stories. I liked to be in front of the customer when they were talking about what their business vision was. And so I started handling, sales, I think maybe 3 or 4 years into my career. So I've got about 26 years of work experience. I think I'm losing count now.
What are the skills it takes to succeed in the world of business development is a larger question. What do you look for in particular when you're hiring?
What I actually do is I check to see whether the person I'm conversing with is able to have a conversation with me, and also whether they're listening. As long as you're able to listen to customers, understand what they're saying, and translate that a little bit into technical speak, our technical teams take over from there. But I think being able to listen to what the customer's saying, empathize with them, and understand what they're saying and translate it, that's what I really look for.
How do you see your affinity for seemingly disparate worlds of prose, poetry, and art intersecting with your chosen profession?
The way Extentia is structured and my job profile, they allow me to write interesting stories about customers and the customer sort of solutions that we're giving. We get a technical spec from the tech team to say that this is a project we've delivered, but to actually make it interesting and say, but how does it impact lives around us? How does it impact a customer's business? What is the big change we've made? So I think I'm always spinning stories around two things. One is that, how Extentia can magically transform your entire organization or your business processes. And the second is how we actually manage to do so. So when we talk about customer success stories, spinning those success stories, making those interesting, I think gives me that little bit of an outlet to be able to spin a few stories. And that's interesting.
Now, can you talk a little bit how Extentia and you, of course, deals with people across geographies where business and organizational norms tend to differ? More so in the world of 2020 and now 2021, where everything's increasingly virtual.
In the whole of 2020, we've all been talking about the same thing. And I think 2020, in a way, has actually brought us together, the entire world, because the entire world was facing one single common crisis, and we could actually speak about that and understand what the other person on the other end was going through. When they said lockdowns, we knew exactly what they were talking about, right? So we actually understood the feeling of empathy because we felt the same as our customers. Another big thing that I noticed, a big shift in 2020, is that I've been on Zoom and GoToMeeting, for years and years and years. But because of the fact that I used to go out and meet customers, I didn't actually bother so much to put on my video when I was talking to them from India. But now I find that almost everyone switches on their video, so that we don't know when we're going to get a chance to see each other next. Let's at least see each other on screen. So the definition of communication to me seems to be changing so much all the time. And I think it always means to reach out, with empathy.
Talk a little bit about the start of our journey into the PDO ecosystem across the Salesforce Ohana.
I remember this so clearly. I had just gone for my first trip to Australia. It was a new market for Extentia, so I was the one that was opening up this market. And it was important that we got some customers from that space because I absolutely loved Australia and I really didn't want to lose the market at all. And it was an exciting space to be. There was a lot of stuff happening with Salesforce over there. So we'd spoken to this customer. They were interested in talking with us. And on the way back, I stopped in Singapore to meet with some of our other customers. And I was at a conference in Singapore, and I remember I was squatting on the floor, on the carpet, on the conference floor, negotiating this deal with the customer because I wanted to close it before I hit India, before I came back to India. And we finally agreed on a price. Of course, there was a lot of negotiation and all of that. But the exciting thing was that I remember it feeling like my first deal, even though it was like my, 100th or something, or 1000th deal, but it was so exciting because it was our first, it really was our first PDO customer. And now for us to be expert PDOs, which is really to know that you're one amongst less than 10 expert PDOs, or 9, if I'm not mistaken. And to know that we're one of those is just absolutely incredible.
So that brings us to the end of our first segment. We're now moving on to a fun rapid fire segment. So I'm going to give you a word or a phrase, and you just have to tell us the first thing that comes into your mind. Here we go. Favorite Extentia office?
ETP. That's where I sit.
Favorite Extentia snack?
Vada pav. I hate it when they give us they give us this pav thing with some veggies in it, and then I open it and I'm like, this is such a killjoy because I'm expecting the vada inside. So vada pav for sure.
All right. The Beatles or Kishore Kumar?
The Beatles.
All right. Favorite annual party theme to date?
Beauty and the Beast, dressed up as the Joker.
Joker, yes.
Yeah, I think I was most into it at that time. I totally love Beauty and the Beast because it helped me sort of, explore my dark side, as they say. I loved that.
Dreamforce or Trailer DX?
So for me, Dreamforce.
Okay.
It's totally about meeting all our customers from all over the world.
Sure.
And just being in San Francisco, the downtown, the hub of Salesforce is just so cool. I mean, I love it.
All right. Appy or Astro?
Astro. The original.
Forum or Express?
Forum. I love the fact that all of us are in one room together. Everyone gets a chance to speak. The vibe of Forum is always absolutely brilliant. Love it.
All right. Beaches or mountains?
That's a tough one. Can't we just have a beach by a mountainside and then a cliff and then down to the beach? Both.
Client visits or business trips?
I love it when customers come and visit us. I absolutely love it when customers come and visit us. But I love it more when I can go out there and visit them because I get to meet so many of them at one time.
Okay, final rapid fire question. PDO or consulting? And I think you know the answer to this.
Both.
All right. Thank you, Komal. Now we've got one final segment to go. What we did is we reached out to members of the Extentia family and asked them if they had any questions they wanted to ask you. We've chosen the 3 that we thought were most interesting. So we're going to get started. This first question is from Neeraj Soni. So what is one of the biggest constraints, in your opinion, in terms of how biz dev and technical teams communicate with each other?
So it's important to think like the customer and still be able to deliver a good project. So just thinking like the customer is what I think they need to be improved on. But again, we've got an outstanding team. I mean, yeah, they really do help us to get more business from customers all the time. So,
all right. Now Anshul Maskar has a question. Could you tell us a little bit about a skill that you've learned to develop during the lockdown?
I was not wearing this 5 minutes ago. And then I got this reminder from Sejal that we're doing this video shoot. I'm like, oh shoot, we have a shoot. and I went in and I quickly sort of became presentable.
Right.
So obviously that is a skill, but also again, this is a life skill, but on conference calls and Zoom calls more than ever, you have to be listening all the time. One second, if you're asking me about other skills, I am a good cook now, and I wasn't before 2020. Yeah.
All right, we have one last question, and this is from Sangram Mohite, and he'd like to know that apart from Umair, who is your favorite CEO and why?
Can I have 2, please? I have Elon Musk. He's my all-time favorite. I think he's I follow him like a puppy would follow his master. I'm just I honestly am in love with Elon Musk. There isn't anything he does that I find not incredible. And I'm not talking about just Tesla. I'm talking about SpaceX and the Boring Company and everything he says on Twitter. I'm honestly, fanboy moment, whatever they call it. But then, of course, Mark Benioff. And I'm not saying this because we're Salesforce consultants or PDO experts or, just that we're so good in the ecosystem, so entrenched in the ecosystem. I follow him, the way he handles COVID, the way he handles personal crises, the way he handles, just everything, his employee policies. There's just everything about Mark Benioff that I totally admire. He's just absolutely a great CEO.
Actually, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you so much, Mikhail. Wonderful talking to you as always. Thank you for the interesting questions, both from you and from the audience.
With that, we'll see you next time on another episode of Conversations in the Cloud. As always, let's continue to do more and be more.